Hi guys, so I'm back. Yes, I am still on Myra's tail. Well, today I think I have an exciting topic that I want to discuss. And we all know I Am Myra fascinates a lot of us, and to the point where many people are finding content with I Am Myra. I Am Myra he seems to be like a gold mine for many YouTubers. He is a gifted young man who somehow is gifting others. He's like, I would say I Am Myra is like the Jesus Christ of Black, African descent people who are trying to make it on YouTube. As soon as you touch his robe and it turns to gold. So if anybody doesn't know I Am Myra, you might want to search him up on Google and find out this kid. He's not a young man. He's a young man who is turning everybody into YouTubers, as if he is like a gold mine, diamond mine that you discover. Those that he and some of us decide to be reactors. Why have we decided to be reactors of I Am Myra? Not only because of the topics. I mean, the topics really push you to react. For me, I talk about colorism, and I Am Myra kept on pushing me, pushing me, pushing me until I decided, you know what, I'm gonna join in on the reactors and start talking about his practice of colorism. So check him out. Very interesting. So we who are reactors, we are like, I don't remember the name of that woman in the Jesus story. The woman who I think she was shedding blood for she was menstruating, or however they want to call it. They didn't say menstruation, but they said that she was shedding blood for like 12 years. I don't know, maybe she had hemorrhage or some kind of hemorrhage. Maybe she had what they call fibroids or something, because I guess fibroids do that to you, or whatever it is that was causing her to shed blood for 12 years. She wanted a miracle to happen, and she heard where Jesus was, and she didn't go to him directly. She was just this lonely person in the crowd, and she was like, if I only could touch this man's robe, I would be healed. And somehow she managed to find where he was and touch his robe, and he felt it right there, like, who touched me? He was as sensitive as I Am Myra. I Am Myra, by the way, is very sensitive. You talk badly about him, he's gonna direct you on one of his, on one of his videos, where he will react towards your reaction. So Jesus felt it and said, who touched me? And the woman then identified herself. Well, this is what some of us are experiencing. Those of us who have had issues with, like, I guess, not having maybe many people in our social media, we are touching the robe of I Am Myra by reacting, okay, without him supposedly knowing. And it's like, it's a miracle that what he does on right now. I think he's been doing this particular mission of his since he's gone to India. Because before India, I didn't see people like just blossoming like that after he met them. I saw where he was influencing people to get interested, but one of the things we noticed is like he metamorphosized the little village where he's at in Kenya, where everybody are now like famous YouTubers. And he did that after his stay in India, where the first time that I saw his power on YouTube was with the nurse, the nurse. Oh my God, I can't remember her name. I'm really bad. Um, so the Indian nurse who was guiding him, who was like his tour guide. This girl, within one day of guiding Myra around, she came from less than 1,000 less than 1,000 viewers, and jumped up to 15,000. I don't know where she's at right now. Priya went a little slower. It took Priya a longer time to make it, because Priya started from scratch. This girl, she had her YouTube channel for a while, but nobody was viewing her. And Ponte, I don't know how many people know this. If you watch all of I Am Myra's clans, okay, Ponte was actually in that area with this girl in India prior to I Am Myra. I don't know. I think she came to know him, to know Myra through Ponte. because Ponte had visited India and they were, you know how they always pretend like, they're boyfriend and girlfriend so that they can support each other as YouTubers. I really like the way the YouTubers cling around each other as family. So Ponte went there and met this girl. She didn't have that many subscribers. And her views were like maybe 100 per day. And then I Am Myra goes like a few months later, and this girl hits zenith like within one day, like 15,000 subscribers. I was like, oh my god. So and then of course Priya came along, and I noticed it took Priya a little longer. So anyway, this is what's going on with I Am Myra. So today, what topic am I going to talk about? Well, my question for Imar is, who's your daddy? Okay, I know this is a little bit sensitive. You're like, oh my God, you didn't go there. I did. Who's your daddy? I've been thinking about that for a little while because Iron Myra doesn't really talk that much about his father. All right. There was just one video that I watched of him because as I was trying to get to know this YouTuber, as he seemed interesting, and I wanted to know, so I watched one of his older videos prior to my becoming a spectator of his videos, and where he was explaining why he wears glasses, right? And he mentioned this idea of father. And I noticed like there are many reactors out there, but people don't really go deeply into the character of this individual. So my question is, who's your daddy? That's very important for a young man who is, again, he is the oldest brother, the oldest boy that his mother has. There's only two of them, two boys, and I think two girls, but the one girl is like, we never see her. She's supposedly the oldest one, and Myra comes next, and then comes D, and then Davy. Okay, so the question right now is, what father figure does this young man have? So I'm taking the social psychological analysis of it. What is the father figure? Well, let's look at this video here where Myra talks about who's his daddy. He talks about, I guess you would see like the need or the lack of a father figure for him. All right, because we know there is this man who is with the mother right now, who is the mother's husband, and Myra calls him father. We've seen him say, this is my dad, and he's very respectful. After the watching the video, I did not expect, this is like my mother who had a stepmother, and my mother always spoke very badly behind. Well, Myra never really talks badly about his stepfather, but nonetheless, at the after the I video, I felt, because I grew up, for example, in a single parent household, and that single parent was also like an orphan, because she always said that her mother passed away when she was a child, and she had issues with the stepmother, so she didn't grow up with a stepmother. But the funny thing is like when the stepmother finally came into the US, she started behaving so nicely towards the lady. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe all the stories that I heard about this lady. And this is the way that she's behaving. I expected her to be standoffish, but no, 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 no. She was behaving very nicely. So Myra is very polite towards the man who he calls dad. Okay. And we all know who he calls dad, the man who's in the household as their father, the mother's husband. Okay. But the question is, Myra, who's your daddy? So let's find out. All right, I'm going to share my screen so we can find out who's Myra's dad. I want to know. The inquiring mind wants to know. Okay, so who is Myra's dad? Here's Myra in this video here explaining the situation with his eye. And here he goes. He explains.
Eyes would shed tears, like the eyes would respond by, like shedding tears. So man, I stayed inside in my home because my mom had left. She was the only person who cared about me anyway, because I was living in a family with a stepdad who didn't care at all. I hope he doesn't watch this video, but if he does, that's the reality of life. So man, I really cried. I was just in the house for 2 weeks, not going in the hospital, man. It's pain, pain.
Okay, so there you have it. Myra here just explained the situation when he lost his um eye by a slingshot that somebody had. And I know he doesn't even, he's very sensitive when people talk about his sensitive issues, and I know this is a very sensitive issue for him. And he always tries to he always says that he wants to avoid this topic when it comes to that. um so who's his dad? Where is your dad, Mara? And some of you, Mara tells us his whole story. So those of us who have time might be able to research his videos and find out who his dad is. Apparently, the dad might be alive somewhere. But it appears that the father who's in the house is his stepfather. And then of course, what about the other two siblings that are in the house? I suspect that that is the actual biological father of the other two siblings, and but that's not Myra's father. So they may be like half siblings, like maybe that's his half sister or his half brother, whereas he has another father somewhere out there. Just that's what I wanted to point out. So Myra lacks on, like, I guess a father role model in his upbringing. His dad, he never really talks about his real biological father. So the man he calls dad, apparently I don't think that's his father. He calls him dad because that's out of respect. That's his mother's husband. But that I believe is Dee's father. So now that would make sense why the father, that one time when Dee was like, "Oh, why are you giving me all this land and not a brother?" Well, the younger brother is Davy, who can wait, and the land that the father had given Dee, Dee is his probably oldest child, and Myra is the stepson. So then again, understanding why Myra doesn't, like, why he needs to build his own home, and why it becomes uncomfortable after a while. His mother takes very good care of him. He has his room, and we know that Ponte was a little bit jealous because his room was more accommodating. The Myra's room was more accommodating than the room that was given to Ponte. So it's not that he is not cared for. And the other question is, the possibility that even the man that is right now, that he calls dad, might not even be the man that he was talking about then either. That's very interesting that it may have been somebody else. Why? Maybe not, because he said right now, even if he's listening, so that's very, like, that could be the man. I'm sorry. So I'm just like speculating. You tell me, you give me your idea. Who's Myra's dad? I mean, you know how they say, like, but who is Myra's biological father? Does anybody know who Myra's biological father is? Since we are looking at this character, we're going to help build this young man. He's a young black man, a young African man, Kenyan, okay, who has been exploring the world and portraying for us the epitome of what we call as colorism, as a colorist black man, a colorist African man. But at the same time, it is very helpful for us as he presents the evidence that many of us are really not given, okay? And we want him to be well, and I'm so happy he's here. It seems like he's putting himself together here. And I'm glad to see that he met up again with Lorraine. We were possibly thinking, oh my God, with Lorraine's intelligence and after what I saw today, I mean, I didn't sit down and watch the entire video, but it looks like Lorraine actually likes Mara, okay? Despite her high education and she's very articulate, and she can command a conversation, something that Myra tends to take away from people. But I think, Lorraine is a New Yorker, okay? So she's not going to let Myra get away with taking over a conversation. When she has to say something, she will get her last word. And she's enjoying her time with Myra. And I noticed that Myra is settling in, he's doing better. I was concerned about him doing his later days in Africa because, like we are seeing right now, he does have a very strong maternal figure, but a paternal figure he lacks. He lacks a father. I don't know where the dad is. Does anybody know where Myra's dad is? Just comment what you think. I know a lot of us care about Myra. We love him as if he's our own son, our own relatives, our own little brother. So we will keep in touch and stay focused. So, but I see those little Google eyes that Lorraine is giving Myra. Unfortunately, I don't think Lorraine can take Priya's place. So we see Mara with a lot of girls. They come and go. But I guess Lorraine will make her step if she's interested. Um, because Myra needs some entertainment in the US. But anyway, I know that Lorraine is two timing. She hinted on it by claiming that it's her job two timing, but but the other way that I could see as two timing is that Ivan is always in the background somewhere, so so she might feel that way, the way Ivan is always in the back, and if there is something that there's some fire that's supposed to be sparked, that fire can be sparked because I guess it's difficult with Ivan's more American demeanor. Okay, putting Myra's very rough the mannerisms into check, sometimes she might wonder. So we stop it at that. You could go ahead and put your comments, highly appreciated, and let me be the lady who touched the robe of Jesus and get me some subscribers out there as I touch the robe of Jesus. All right, thank you. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.